And away we go. It is a collaboration, if you will, here on the Aftermath, as we normally have George in the Jungle in this slot at 9 o'clock on Tuesday nights. But we just had a game. So we're going to do George in the Jungle, and we're going to do the Aftermath all wrapped up in one. Oh, boy. Feel the excitement. The Aftermath brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, located right down the street from Newport on the Levee in Dayton, Kentucky, just a few minutes away. So easy to get to from downtown. They've got the best fried chicken in the city, chicken tenders, chicken dunkers. They've got all kinds of good stuff, French fries, coleslaw, fried pickles. I know George is probably a big fried pickles guy.
Yep.
Deviled eggs, you name it. And, of course, the Galactic sauce is out of this world. So get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Go see our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Aaron?
Yep. This show also brought to you by, goodness gracious, so many buttons to push for all of this crossover stuff. Remington Tavern. Remington Tavern can be found at 8892 Glendale Milford Road, 45140, where they have their daily happy hour from 3 to 7 p.m., $5 bourbon whiskey Wednesdays, bottle cap bonanza Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. You can check them out on Instagram at Remitav Cincy. That's REMITAV Cincy with a Y, or follow them on Facebook. And while you're there, be sure to grab a nice cold Cincy Light. They got it in tap. They got it in cans. Whatever suits your fancy. Support the people who support us. And check out Remington Tavern. All right.
Well, the 4-game winning streak was fun while it lasted. Maybe the most fun 9 minutes of the season to start the game. But I will say this. Those 9 minutes let me know Cincinnati was not winning this game. They went 9 of 9 from the floor. 4 of 4 from 3. They were perfect at the free throw line over the first 9 minutes of the game, and they were up 4.
Yep.
And that let me know that Tech offense was going to be a buzzsaw, and I didn't think Cincinnati was going to be able to keep up. As it turned out from there, the offense went cold. Texas Tech was fantastic on the offensive glass. The numbers are deceiving. If you look, Texas Tech had 12 rebounds, 12 offensive rebounds. Cincinnati had 11. That's not bad, right? You think that's pretty good? Well, Tech missed 25 shots and got 12 offensive rebounds. They got half of the available balls in the air, and Cincinnati missed 25, 12, 30. Cincinnati missed 37 shots and got 11 offensive rebounds. That's where the difference is. If you look at the rebounding advantage, 40 to 24, it was 28 to 13 on the defensive glass. Cincinnati has been one of the best defensive rebounding teams in the country this year. They got 13 defensive rebounds. Tech got 12 offensive rebounds. When your opponent gets 50% of their misses and they play offense like Texas Tech does, you're probably not going to win. And Cincinnati did not win. They were not the tougher team tonight. Texas Tech was quicker to the ball. They were quicker to the action. They spread Cincinnati out. This is what I talked about I was afraid of last night on the BBP. They are going, because JT Toppin is out, they are going to essentially have to play a mid-major style with high major players. And they swarmed to the ball. They knew they were going to be outsized. They didn't care. They swarmed to the ball. They made plays. They took the ball away from Cincinnati on multiple defensive rebounds where Tech just was the tougher team. And they were better. And Cincinnati paid for it. And now you've got to win 3 to end the season here. And even then, that's no guarantee that you're going to get into the NCAA tournament. You needed this one. You needed another road quad 1A scalp heading into this home stretch here. They didn't get it. And give credit to Tech. Christian Anderson is incredible. He's my favorite player to watch in this league. And I hate when that happens, that Cincinnati plays my favorite guy, because you find out why he's my favorite guy. He made so many tough shots, 31, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, spectacular. And he was the best player on the floor. And that's why Texas Tech got the win.
Yeah, he took over the game for a while. When it was turning in the first half, and he started making those drives, and I thought UC's defense starting off was pretty darn good out at the perimeter and stuff, and maybe Texas Tech not making shots made it look better than it was. But then it seemed like those screens started having an effect, and guys were getting open, and
the moving ones,
and there were yes. And I got some text messages about that and the complaints about it. And you know what? That continued into the second half, actually, a couple times, too, where it's like there was one play with about 15 minutes left or just a little less, and they could have blown the whistle 3 times on this guy out front trying to set a screen. And I think it was Keyshawn Phillips. Yeah. And it was just unbelievable. And then they got a bucket out of it. You see, just the defense wasn't there. And a lot of that is Texas Tech, the way they played. But you talk about the rebounding, Chad, and here's another weird stat that sticks out to me, because I hate turnovers more than anything. UC only had 3 turnovers. Am I reading that right?
That's correct. They had 3. Tech had 12.
God almighty, that's what I'm looking for, and they still lose by 12 points. And Texas Tech had 12 turnovers, but UC only had 13 points off those 12 turnovers. Texas Tech had 7 points off the 3 turnovers.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Math. I mean, I saw that and I couldn't believe it, because throughout the game I'm going, well, they're not turning it over, and that's like a big bugaboo with me. Unfortunately, they weren't rebounding, and Texas Tech was the better team tonight. Probably is the better team on most nights. And, with that kid playing the way he played tonight, and Atwell hit big shots when they're just big momentum shots that he hit a couple of those at critical points. And they just didn't have the firepower tonight. You come out and hit your first 9, and like you said, you're up 4. You're thinking, uh-oh, because you ain't going to make them all.
Right. They took UC's best punch and said, okay.
Yeah, and I was hoping UC towards the end of the half would settle down when he called the timeout with 3.5 minutes left. And I was hoping they'd settle down and, cut it down to 4-2 at the half and take their punch. And it didn't get out of hand, but they didn't respond as well as I'd hoped there.
Well, and then they got it to 6 on the Chom 3 in the second half. And it was like, okay. They've taken another punch from Tech to start the second half. They responded. They cut it to 6, and then Anderson scores 5 straight, hits a 3, and now it's back to 11, and now you're fighting uphill again. I mean, my magic number was 7. If you kept them under 7 threes, 7 or less, I thought you'd have a chance to win this game. Instead, they hit 10. That's 12 points, George, and they lost by 12.
Yep, you called it.
Texas Tech ran the shoot until you miss offense. I mean, they didn't miss much. They shot 51.9% from the floor, 40% from 3, and 80% from the free throw line. You slash 50, 40, 80, you ain't losing a whole lot.
No, you're not. And even when Texas Tech got up like 10 or 11 and UC missed a couple of shots, you got to get back in the game. If you're going to get back in the game, you can't miss easy shots. And UC missed several in that stretch in the second half. And the one that stood out, the one from Celestine, that little stick back from a foot away, and just you got to make it out. You're down like 11 or whatever, and it's like you can't miss those and make up that deficit. They just did not play their best tonight. I didn't think Jalen played all that great, to be honest. Thomas wasn't shooting it well. Defensively, I thought he played well, especially early. But it was Tech was the better team tonight, and like I said, probably is on most nights.
I just don't know what you could have possibly done to stop Christian Anderson. He's an absolute menace. It didn't matter what Cincinnati tried to do. He found a shot, he created a shot, he would drive, he would shoot a three. Obviously the moving screens create some opening, but Cincinnati couldn't defend.
Wouldn't have mattered.
It wouldn't have, because Cincinnati couldn't defend anything on backdoor at all. It looked like it was the first time. Maybe they haven't gotten to practicing the pick and roll. I'm not sure.
Aaron, he's the number one most efficient guard in the pick and roll in the country. Like, that is how he scores. That's how he lives. And he's really freaking good at it. You can defend it great. Baba defended it great that one time, and he throws it 8 feet up off the glass, and the thing hits the side of the rim and just dies and drops in. Like, he's just stellar.
Had plenty of English on it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a point in the first half where, they didn't need a screen. Now, I think Miller thought one was there on the one where he got dusted. And then I think it was the next possession down or the possession previous to that he abused Thomas. I mean, he just tore him up and got a layup out of it. And, oh, man, it felt bad watching that because that's where you felt it slipping away.
So good with the ball. It's
I think this leaves them where they're going to have to win a game in the Big 12 tournament, if not two, provided they win out. And I don't know that they can. It would be nice to get in that position and try, but
the tournament doesn't matter. I left that in the dust like 2 years ago. If you can't get done what you need to get done in the regular season, I just don't. The committee has shown they don't care what happens in conference tournaments anymore, unless you do something crazy. Like,
well,
unless you beat Arizona in the quarterfinals and Houston in the semifinals to get to the Big 12 championship. The problem is that this is my theory. This is my theory on this. The committee gathers on Wednesday, right?
Right.
By early Thursday evening, they have decided who is in and out. And then they start scrubbing the field and working on seeds. And they do that for about a day and a half. Then they start working on the bracket. And I just don't think they go back. Unless you do something crazy or there's a bid stealer. I don't think winning an opening, like, now you say 2 wins in the Big 12 tournament, there's a chance if Cincinnati wins these last 3, they'll finish in the top 8, and they'd have to beat an Arizona, Houston, Iowa State to advance and win that second game. Maybe that helps, but anymore, like the committee has shown over the last 5 years, they don't care what really happens in conference tournaments. You better get your work done before the regular season ends if you want to make it in. I wish I felt differently, but I just don't know. I'm done.
Last year, they definitely did that. I mean,
they've done it for like 3-4 years now. They just don't.
It did not have an effect.
Yeah,
you're right. It depends on who you play in that first round. But given if they are on the edge and another team's on the edge, I don't know that they do, but I'd like to think that it means something to play well late in the season, which I know they go back and forth on that too. And to me, I go back old school. I want the teams that have become the best teams to get in. That doesn't mean you're the best team in December, but you might be in March. And I think there's something to that. That used to be, the old school way where you played the really tough conference or non-conference schedule to really get battle tested, depending on what conference you were in. But I think they should reward the teams that play well late in the season.
We have a new thing this year, guys, that I think it's going to be the thing that they talk about going into the bracket, and that's wins above bubble. And that is why tonight was so important, because really the only win above bubble now that Cincinnati has left is BYU.
Yep.
And they didn't get any of those in the non-conference. They've got Iowa State and Kansas, which are huge fish, but those are it. That's it. That's it for the top of their resume. Even if they get BYU, I just don't know that they have enough wins above bubble. Like that, they talked about it Saturday.
I would not feel good about it.
They talked about wins above bubble Saturday in the reveal for the top 16, the top 4 seed lines. It's their new thing. We've heard it mentioned. We've heard it talked about. I think that's going to be one of the primary talking points. Tonight was like if you got tonight and you had those 3 wins above bubble, you would have looked incredible compared to the other teams that you would have been competing with. BYU would still look great, but that's at home, so it's going to look a little different.
Right.
I think they'd be right in that mix if they win the next 3. Like they'll be right there on and around the cut line. I just don't know because they didn't do anything in the non-conference, because they started so slow in the conference. I just don't know that the resume, unfortunately, is going to be enough.
And honestly, a month ago, I wouldn't have dreamed we were even talking about it.
No.
I mean, that's the crazy thing, too. They were DOA at that point.
They were DOA 3 weeks ago when they lost to West Virginia and everything that happened after that.
Hurt, too, when you think of those games.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, they had their chances to still be alive. And maybe they are, but, I mean, the paddles are out, let's face it.
I know Mustafa Cham put up 21 coming off 28, but 7 of 19 to get there. That's a little frustrating for a big man. I was afraid of this with hitting 2 of 5 threes in the last game. He shoots 4 tonight, misses 3 of them. Just a game where I didn't think you needed Mustafa Cham taking threes. But then on top of that, to miss as many shots in and around the key, that's a lot of missed shots for your big man.
I mean, they crowded him. I thought they did a really good job defending him, especially with the size deficiency. Disparity. Yeah. I mean, I thought they did a really good job frustrating him, making things tough for him. I didn't mind any of the threes. They were all wide open. Like they're just leaving him standing at the top of the key where, I mean, he can make those shots. Sometimes good shooters taking their shot are going to go 1 for 4. And I thought if he could have hit them, it might have loosened up the way that they were crowding him around the rim. And that's part of what I talked about when I talked about he has struggled with both years in college. He struggled with low major teams because they just swarm at him like gnats and they crowd him and they make him uncomfortable. And he never really gets comfortable with what he wants to do. I thought there was a little bit of that tonight. They made it tough for him. I'll give them credit. I thought they really, considering, again, what was supposed to be a massive size disparity, they made it, they didn't make it easy. Like they didn't just let him catch and turn and get a clean look at the rim. I don't know. I mean, of his missed shots, I don't know that really 2 or 3 of them were clean. Like he had somebody on him, Bamboye and Akuntalk or whatever is that. I thought those guys frustrated the hell out of Cham when they had the chance.
Yeah, he had to throw up a lot of shots I didn't like, where he's just, Turner, and he's been making, and he made some tonight, but there were too many of those for my taste. Yeah. I mean, it did make it difficult on him, and maybe, and I'd have to go back and look. So maybe some of them, he thought the shot clock was running down a little too much to kick it back out. I know there was one out of the timeout late in the first half, where they come out and they'd gotten away early in the game. If you remember, he was working pretty well down low, and Baba was when He ISO'd a couple times early and took a guy down and made shots close to the rim. And that got taken away for a while. And they came out of timeout and tried to go back to it. And it was just forced down there to Cham. And then he forced the shot. And you can't do that. I mean, it's easy to sit here and say when you're not in the heat of the moment. But he's got to learn from that, and hopefully he will, because there were too many tough shots he took, I felt like. And not necessarily the threes, like you said, Chad, he was open. But down low with those turnarounds and just throw it to the rim and hope. There were too many of those.
I also was a little frustrated with guard play in general. I know we talked about defensively, there just isn't much you can do to stop Christian Anderson, but I thought that you really needed something more out of Jizzle James. Granted, he goes 5 of 8 for 12, but outside of that, he doesn't have another statistic. Not a single rebound, not a block, not a steal, not an assist, nothing. I think you needed anything more out of him. Same thing with Keyshawn Tillery. He looked a little out of sorts in the limited minutes he had out there. He gives you
the guards weren't good.
No, he goes 0 for 3 with 2 assists. And Day has been a shell of himself most of this entire conference slate. This is not the guy you expected to see in his final season as a Bearcat.
Texas Tech's guards were great. Anderson, 31 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. Atwell, 12, 4 of 9 from 3, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. 43 points for their starting guards, 18 for Cincinnati.
Yeah, and it's
there you go.
He's played better lately. He just did not play well tonight, and
he didn't have it tonight.
I would agree. Thomas and James certainly didn't do anything to write home about either. I mean, Jizzle shot it well early. I don't know what day they finished, but I know he didn't shoot it real well.
2 of 8 for 6 points.
Yeah, that was just. Yeah, they got eaten alive. And,
that's
for a
what
while
we've been afraid of.
Some open shots they missed too when things started slipping, but they didn't. I don't know. I felt like their shot selection started lagging too, and we talked about that with Chom, and I thought it did with a lot of people late in the half.
Well, that's kind of been the story for these guards. Most of the conference slate is they settle for the long 2 as opposed to driving to the hoop, trying to draw contact. It's just been the story of the season.
Well, they gave us a little bit of juice here anyway. Gave us something to pay attention to for a week or so. We'll see how they finish, but I don't think it's going to end well for the old Bearcats, boys.
Yeah,
and that's Gardner.
I was just going to say Tech's depth looked better than Cincinnati's as well. Buck didn't really do much of anything. He looked more of a liability than anything out there, I thought, especially offensively. We already talked about Tillery and Tyler McKinley. It looked like he went out with another injury potentially. He looked like he looked pissed when he got called to the bench, didn't check back in after that. He smacked his hands together as he was going to the bench. Looked like he was slow getting back to the other end of the court, which is why I believe they called the timeout where they did and getting him off the court. Hopefully it's nothing serious for him, as it's been something that's been bothering him all season long, but just his minutes out there, granted, again, 6 minutes, just nothing provided. He had one good pass where he kicked it out to somebody on the corner, but I don't even know that they made that shot. So I just remember seeing the pass and being like, oh, there's McKinley.
Yeah, it wasn't a great matchup for him, and he didn't play well either. But you gotta, at some point in time, you have to be able. I mean, I don't know what else they really could have done. Chom played 36 minutes. Baba played 32 in foul trouble, and still played 32 minutes. You got to give them a little bit of a breather at some point in time.
Yep.
Unless you're Christian Anderson or JT Toppin, for that matter, as both those guys went 40 many times this season. But in any case, looks like 24 points in the paint for Cincinnati. Only 2 bench points, like we talked about. 13 points off turnovers. 1.172 points per possession, scored 51.7% of the time, held the lead for 16 minutes.
Oh, it was a glorious 16 minutes. It was glorious.
I mean, it was.
Well, they made me think. I'm like, Jesus, are they on some type of run? Like, you remember after that crosstown brawl and, they had those suspensions and stuff, and then they kind of pulled together, played like Texas Tech did tonight is what it kind of reminded me of when you think about it. You pull together and play that kind of guard-oriented ball that they did, and that was a thing to behold. But, yeah, I mean, I thought they might be able to dial it in tonight and keep it up somewhat and hang in there, but just not good enough. That's asking a lot, too, coming off what happened Saturday.
And even without JT Toppin, Tech is really good.
It's a good team, yeah.
With JT Toppin, they hang 100 on Cincinnati.
I'm interested. They're playing a different brand of offense now. Like, they're playing faster. They're a little bit more. I mean, they hung 100 on Kansas State doing this exact same thing where they just fly around and they make you really, really uncomfortable because you don't know where they're at. It's hard to get a body on them. You're constantly looking around for somebody because it's not traditional. Your guy is not standing there and you just put a body on him and go get the rebound. Like they shoot a lot of long shots. This is what we talked about last night also, Aaron. Shoot a lot of long shots. There's a lot of long rebounds. And they got a lot of those offensive rebounds in that free throw line extended area where it felt like guards were just kind of shooting there with the ball in the air, anticipating that it wasn't going to be around the rim. And the crazy part, like here was the crazy part to me when I was looking at it, guys. They dominated like they did on the offensive glass. Nobody on the team had more than two. Petty had two. Atwell had two. Mosley and Akentalk had two. Watts had one. Bamboye had one. Tyree Bryan had one. They had a team one. Like, it was a complete team effort. You never knew where it was coming from. And it wasn't like, a lot of times it'll be one guy, right? One or two guys that are doing it. And you can say, hey,
get a body on him now and
get a body on him and get his ass off the glass.
Yep.
And that wasn't it for Tech. They were coming from the
baseline. You're right. A lot of those offensive rebounds were flying from the outside.
And they were tapping it.
It was
Tech's bigs only had 14 rebounds of their 40. Only 14 between the four guys.
They did a great job tapping the ball to that space, too. Like, it was I'll give Grant McCaslin credit because that looked like strategy from them. We can't beat them on the glass at the rim. So we're going to beat them on the glass at that secondary area. Long rebounds, tap outs. Two of those offensive rebounds on free throws were tap outs where they didn't even try to rebound the ball. And UC has done that a ton this year. It's one of the reasons they've been good on the glass is a lot of tap outs.
Not much of that tonight.
Hell of a game and most facets of it.
Tim, Wes's teams don't put a body on anybody. They're a top 50 defensive rebounding team. For much of the season, they've been elite defensive rebounding. You're not an elite defensive rebounding team if you don't put a body on people. Again, there are plenty of problems to discuss. Making up problems doesn't do anybody any good.
No, there's enough.
There's enough. Like, we got enough stuff that we don't have to make up stuff to be mad about. There's plenty of stuff to be mad about.
In fairness, Tim had another great point that it was the most moving screens we've ever seen not called in a game.
I would agree with that. In fact, I think I saw the most not called on one possession Like,
Oh, and they were
let alone a game. It all happened in one.
They were illegal screening for like 5, 6, 7 feet, George. They just kept moving.
It's funny to me why this is never called anymore. It's like, in some games I will see it called, and I've seen some UC games this year where it was called a few times, but I don't know how you get away with that. It's they call that stuff down low by the basket, but it just seems like it doesn't get called out top for some reason.
They stayed on. They came home. They did not stay down there, so they came back, and that's much easier to do. They played early Saturday.
I was wondering. I thought they might stay out, but
if they would have played late, I think it's much more possible because you don't want to get home at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, throw off everybody's sleep schedule.
They were able to get home by 9 or whatever.
Probably even earlier than that, really. Right. I mean, get on the plane on 5, 6 o'clock. You're home by 7 or 8 from Kansas. But they did come home and then headed to Tech yesterday. So they have not been a top rebounding team every year, though, Wolfie. They were not a good rebounding team last year, and everybody wanted to pull their hair out because they were a great rebounding team in 2024. They were outside the top 100 in offensive and defensive rebounding a year ago. So if you were frustrated with last year, I get it, because that team should have been much better on the glass, and they stunk.
Well, you want to do the thing?
Rewatch the game. They didn't, and don't put a body on anybody. They had a bad night, Tim. They had a bad night on the glass. What Texas Tech did frustrated them. That doesn't mean that they've been bad at it all year. It means that they were shit tonight. That's okay.
Baba out.
Yeah, they eliminated Baba from the glass for whatever reason.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done talking about it, Tim. I don't care anymore.
What I did.
He's still going. I don't care anymore.
I missed something.
All right. We'll do the thing. 21 points from Mustafa Cham, 7 of 19 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 6 of 7 from the line, 2 offensive, 8 defensive rebounds, giving him 10 total rebounds, leading all Bearcats by a landslide. 1 foul, 1 block, 36 minutes played, -2 for Mustafa Cham.
Played well. I mean, there were multiple times, especially in that second half, that felt like Cham kept them in it almost by himself. He rebounded Aaron. Quite a few tough off defensive rebounds where he did block out and he did battle the guy and go up and get high point the ball and bring it down.
He also didn't end up in a jump ball situation where several different times I thought that it was going to be that he strongmanned.
He played about as aggressive under there as I think I've seen him play, to be honest. On some of when it comes to the rebounding part of it, I thought I'm glad to see him do that, because I'm not sure that we've seen that game in and game out, but lately we've been seeing more of that from him.
My only criticism on Cham tonight, though, is you just got to clean up some of the high percentage shots. He got
a little weird down there and threw up some shots he probably shouldn't have. And, you kind of got to look at each individual situation. I don't remember the shot clock running out when he had the ball down there doing that stuff, but maybe a couple times it was getting close. I don't know. But they were shots I don't recommend him taking a lot of.
Yeah.
But he's been so much better lately. It's hard to ask him to dial it back too much, because he's been more aggressive down there offensively and defensively and rebounding.
I think they frustrated him. Like, I think it's that simple. I think their activity and their physicality, even with smaller guys, I think frustrated him, and he was not his normal self with the shot selection, because especially over the past 3 weeks or so since he came back from the ankle injury, the shot selection from him has been pretty good. He's been taking open, good looks, and he rushed it a little bit tonight.
It's like a bunch of gnats on you in the summer. You don't like that.
I think they wore him down too with the pick and roll stuff. He was late catching up defensively on a lot of stuff and kind of having to move a little bit more, going from the top of the key down back to the.
When he made that three, I thought it was out of gas, and then I think he may have come out not long after that because he barely made it down the floor. He looked like me running down the floor, like he's just kind of shuffling. And I thought he was leaking some serious oil there, but he did play a lot of minutes, so there's a reason for that.
All right, we'll keep it moving though. Jalen Celestine, 15 points, 5 of 12 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line, 3 offensive rebounds, his only rebounds, 1 assist, 4 fouls, 2 steals, leading all Bearcats again. 34 minutes played, -3 for Jalen Celestine.
Played hard. I thought he took some rush shots, a couple questionable shots, but I mean, at least when the guards went ice cold and were non-existent, Celestine was one of the guys that was willing to get the ball on the rim. And you got to have guys that want it, right? Like especially the guards at times, they don't want the ball. They play hot potato with it.
Crazy.
It's crazy. They don't want the ball with, the shot clock winding down or pressure situations. They'll take open shots and they'll dribble into an 18-footer with the best of them. But you got to have guys that want the ball and want to be able to make the play. And Celestine wanted the ball. He wanted the action to come to him.
Well, his line suggests he played a little better than I thought he did in the game because I thought he was – I would have graded him mediocre on tonight's performance.
What's that make everybody else?
Well, it makes the guards. I can name 1, 2, 3, 4 guys I think played worse.
Yeah. That might be kind.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
I'm a kind guy.
Outside of Chom,
right?
I don't know anybody else that played better than him.
No,
I mean, he had a bad night defensively, Wolfie, but everybody had a bad night defensively. Texas Tech whooped them with their ball movement and their dribble penetration. They collapsed the defense. They got paint touches. They kicked it out. They made the extra pass. They got open threes. There's only so much you can do. You got to keep the ball out of the paint against that type of team because that's what they want to do. They want to collapse the defense off the pick and roll and then kick it and then make the extra pass to the wide open shooter on the wing or in the corner. And boy, they beat UC with that. It felt like 8, 10, 12 times tonight for just wide open shots.
I don't know what their conditioning program is down at Tech because my goodness.
Yeah.
Baba Miller, 12 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. He had a long one from 3. 1 of 2 from the line, 2 offensive, 2 defensive, giving him 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 fouls, 2 turnovers, 32 minutes played, -2. He was just
offensively. He was really good early. I thought he was really good at everything early. I don't know what happened to him, to be honest, because you would think you would get 4 rebounds just by accident, but it was just that kind of game, I guess.
I think the second half, I mean, you only get 3 points. You only took 3 shots.
Yeah.
You only got 2 rebounds, only 1 assist.
He didn't have the ball much.
No, they weren't running it through him. They were running it more through Chom than they were through Baba. And maybe that was a mistake. Maybe that was where they messed up. I don't know. Might have to go back and even rewatch the second half just to see what they did with Baba. But just what we normally see him running a point forward spot, and we did in the first half even. It looked like they kind of took that away in the second half, or he just didn't want to do it. I don't know.
I would need to go back and watch Baba specifically to see what they were doing to keep the ball out of his hands, because it did not feel like he had the ball in his hands at all in the second half.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, and they had been running offense through him in this 4-game winning streak a ton, and putting the ball in his hands and saying, go make a play. I wondered what the effect was going to be with a smaller 6'5", 6'6" guy on him, where he wasn't, he's had 6'8", 6'10" guys on him. He can beat them off the bounce. He wasn't able to take the smaller, quicker guys off the bounce today, and that took away a lot of what had been successful, because that's how Cincinnati had been getting paint touches and then moving the ball from that. Baba making either the pass to the corner for the 3 or finding Chom or moving it and then the hockey pass for an assist. Texas Tech took that away. I'd have to go back and watch a little closer in the second half to see exactly what they did, but it felt like he barely touched the ball in the second half. So I'll give credit to Tech for whatever they did defensively to switch it up, because Cincinnati clearly could not figure out that Rubik's Cube of whatever they did to him in the second half. They just kept it out of his hands. I don't have an answer, but whatever it was, it worked.
Bad because, they should have figured out an answer. I mean, I don't have it either sitting here, but God, I wish they could have come up with something, because he's been so darn good for them and really good lately.
Tim's trolling me at this point. I'm convinced. UC was firing up shots with 1 second off the shot clock. I guarantee you they didn't take a single shot at 29 or 19.
Ill-advised shots.
1 second off the shot clock. Okay. He's trolling me. He's got to be.
We're all catastrophizing tonight. It's fine.
They played a better team, and the better team won.
We're in a safe place. Don't make him be. We're all in the same headspace. It's fine. I'm with you, Tim. I'm with you. Anyway, Jizzle James, 12 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Not a damn other statistic across the board other than 2 fouls, 34 minutes played, -10.
And the 2 shots he made were in that 9-for-9 start early. And he didn't.
He 8 points in the second half.
He made long twos.
Yeah.
He made a bunch of long pull up 18-footers that I just absolutely love. Well, there's nothing I love more than a good dribbled into 18-footer.
I know. I'm a big fan of those too.
Oh, it's the best shot in basketball. If you can get an off the dribble 18-footer, you got to take it every time.
Right.
He's got to be. They got to be better.
I know how much I hate the 3. I hate the long 2 with everything that I am at this point. Like it is the bane of my existence. And truthfully, like come what may next season, I don't want to see another 18-foot 2 ever again.
I know.
God.
It's not an efficient shot, and if you take it, you better make it.
I mean, I guess he made a couple tonight, so
good on him. He did.
He was 5 of 8. I'll give him credit where credit is due. But you got to do more. You're playing in the point guard spot. You're playing in or maybe the 2 guard. We still don't really.
I mean, the assists. He's playing point guard. Day-Day's playing the 2. Like that's.
You had 1 assist between the 2 of them. You can't have that.
And they had 8 assists on 25 made baskets. This team, when it has been playing well offensively, they have assisted a lot of the time.
Yes.
And that was not the case in any way, shape, or form tonight. I'm curious. 1.
No,
2,
Tim, I didn't think Jizzle was going to
3.
stop shooting deep 2s. I just hate it. It's a terrible shot. You shouldn't shoot it. There's no reason for a long 2.
I thought you were okay with Tim. I thought you guys were copacetic.
We were good.
He's trolling.
He's spouting
trying
off.
to make us mad. 3 of the 8 assists came before the first media timeout. And then over the final 36 minutes and 12 seconds of the game, they had 5. Woof.
That's pretty tough to do.
5 assists over
That's pretty
36
tough to do. Yeah, that's not good. Very disappointing.
All right, let's finish this up. Day 6 points, 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 1 of 2 from the stripe, 1 offensive, 3 defensive, giving him 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 fouls, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 35 minutes played, -8 for Day Thomas.
They will not go 3-0 down the stretch if Day Thomas doesn't perform better.
Scoring double digits.
They won't. They need him. They need him to play well, and he's not. And to get where they want to go, he's going to have some kind of resurgence, because guess what? The tape is out, guys. Baba Miller, Mustafa Cham. Do everything you can to stop those 2 guys, and you have a chance to grind Cincinnati's offense to a halt. The only way that you free those guys up is if the other guys make plays. And it's not happening. And you're getting about as much as you can get from Jalen Celestine. About as much as you can get from that guy. So the guards, mainly Day and Jizzle, have got to start carrying a little bit more of the load, because right now it's not enough. And Day is the one that needs to really step up offensively. It's been rough. It's been rough watching him these past couple games, because he just doesn't have it right now.
Well, you're seeing them shorten the bench, and we've all begged for him to shorten the bench, and that's fine. But if you're going to shorten the bench, then absolutely you have to have more from Day and
Right.
Jizzle. You have been able to rely on other guys coming off the bench, especially when it was Jalen Celestine early in the season. But at this point, you have Buck, Keyshawn, and Tyler McKinley tonight. And if Tyler McKinley can't go, then you have Halvin Zella. Maybe you get Sean Abayev back. Maybe you don't. We don't know. I don't know what that gives you, truthfully, at this point. So it
might give you somebody that can give you 10 points a game.
It might give you somebody who gives you 4 on 7 shots, 8 shots.
The only problem with Abayev right now is, to play him, you have to take Celestine off the floor, and you can't. I don't think you can't take him off the floor. Your offense desperately needs him for spacing, for playmaking. He's better putting the ball on the floor and making plays from 10 feet and in than I knew that he was. But yeah, your guards can't be average to bad and win in this league. Can't be.
And it'd be
no, and it's and obviously the shooting went south after early in the game too, and that just puts a spotlight on that. When you're not making shots outside, and they weren't after a certain point, they got to operate in other ways, and they just weren't able to do it tonight. And to me, for most of the season, it's been that way, because for most of the season, they haven't made shots that they've made in this recent run.
Yeah.
They started making shots, and everything looks so much better. But when you're not, and your guards aren't able to do much else, and they didn't do anything else on the stat sheet tonight of note, and that's when you're in big trouble. And that was part of that issue tonight. And Celestine, I said he was mediocre at best tonight. I do truly believe that, but he's played really well lately. I'd say the past 8 games, somewhere in there, he's really turned it on and played well in most facets. But I didn't see it tonight. We didn't see much out of anyone tonight.
Wolfie, if you play Sean Abayev at the 2, he's a liability.
He has to guard the two.
He's a liability defensively, and that means at that point you're having either Day Jizzle or Keyshawn at the 1, Abayev at the 2, Celestine at the 3, Baba at the 4, and Mustafa at the 5. And this is not when you start tinkering with that kind of a rotation.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Just my 2 cents. I don't know, but
No, you roll that out. I was going to say you roll that out against Eastern Michigan, but that didn't work.
Christ almighty.
I'm done with him. I'm done with him.
I don't blame you.
You're out of here. Get out of here.
I do have to take a leak. Can I go take one?
Go ahead, George. Take your time.
I can't figure out how to. Oh, I can.
Well, we got you, George. Just let us know when you're back. You're
Just
good.
turn your camera on when you're back.
He's something special. Love him. Buck Harris, 2 points, 1 of 4 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 2 rebounds, both offensive, 2 fouls, 1 steal, 10 minutes played, -9 for Buck.
His one make was a goaltend. Like he didn't actually have the ball go through the basket at any point in time tonight.
That's fantastic.
They go 9 for 9 from the floor. They put Buck in, and it comes to a screeching halt. Screeching halt.
Somebody set it up earlier in the chat, and at this point, I feel like there's something to it. Where if you're going to, and I guess the only reasoning against it would be just lack of anyone else coming off the bench at this point, because I don't know that we'll see another minute from Kirk Reese. I have no idea.
Yeah,
from all indications are that he is healthy.
He's not been on the injury report the last 2 games. He has not played a second the last 2 games.
Healthy scratch. That said, if you're going to play him and he can't do anything against Christian Anderson, what are we playing him for? Like if he's not defensively giving you anything against their best player, which is what he's advertised to be.
Yeah.
What juice is worth that squeeze right now?
I think they try. I mean, he didn't play much, so I think they put him in to try to slow down Christian Anderson a little bit. It didn't work. Christian Anderson, a better offensive player than Buck is. Buck's a very good defensive player. Christian Anderson is as good of an offensive guard that exists in this league. And we're going to, you saw it tonight. You saw it Saturday. Without Toppin, you are now going to see the full Christian Anderson scoring package. Yeah. He's elite, man. Just to the rim, mid-range threes. I know I talked about it earlier, but there's I don't know who in the league is going to stop him from getting what he wants.
I guess I also think that Buck's reputation precedes him, and I feel like he gets calls that not everybody in the league gets simply because he is, as for lack of a better term, handsy than most, and because of that, he's the refs have a quick whistle for him. But
yeah, he didn't have a chance with that kid tonight, though.
No.
No, that dude was on, and Buck had no chance, but nobody else did either.
Yep. We'll keep it moving, though. Keyshawn Tillery, no points, 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 2 assists, a foul, a steal, 12 minutes played, -10 for Keyshawn Tillery.
Yeah, a disappointing game for him, too. He's been playing, I thought, a lot better lately. In fact, I think I had an argument the other day, Saturday, watching the game, where a friend of mine's like, he would be much further along if Wes hadn't handled him the way he did and cut his playing time there for a while. I think Wes did a great job with him. I think
he was turning it over like it was his job.
Exactly. And that's what I told this guy. I'm like, he was going down the drain the way he was playing, and quite honestly, I wish Wes would have handled somebody else in that manner too a little earlier.
Well, Wes has said that Keyshawn came to him before Christmas break basically and was like, I'm not happy with my playing time, and Wes basically said, fix this, and this,
and he
has
has
playing time.
He's played great lately. In my book, he's a keeper. He had a bad night tonight.
But he told him, until you do this, that's why you're not getting the type of playing time that you want. You want the playing time, improve the play, the playing time will go up, and he's answered that bell.
Right. Everyone wants to say Wes has handled everything. No, he hasn't handled everything wrong. I thought he got that one right. I think it made a difference in that kid's play. He did not play well tonight, but he's a keeper, and he'll bounce back. It was contagious with those guards tonight, man. But it was probably Texas Tech.
Yeah. The thing I do worry about him, Texas Tech's guards aren't huge, but they're all 6'2", 6'3", 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
His size is a concern playing a group like that.
This is a tough league for that, actually.
You just wonder if things might have gotten going for him tonight if he hits that three in the corner.
A wide open look.
Maybe that changes things for the way his night went. Maybe that boosts some confidence for him if he hits that three. He hesitated the first time. He probably should have shot it the first time, and I think that's why he shot it the second after the pump fake and the step back. But I don't know.
It could have gone differently for him.
Yep.
Because he has been playing well, but Thomas missed a couple of wide open threes from that corner too, and man, that's a shame.
Yep. And lastly, Tyler McKinley, no points, no shots, no rebounds, no assists, no fouls, no blocks, no turnovers, no steals. 6 minutes played, -16.
I don't think he was the reason they were -16. I think he happened to be on the floor
during
points.
The 10, it was the 10-0 run that they went on.
The big problem, Aaron, is he doesn't give you anything offensively. So he's not going to offset any of that. And he was out there. I think he was also out there for a good chunk of the 15-2 run. Or is that the one you're talking about? I'm just extending.
Yeah, it started
in the first half.
Yeah.
So, he banged his knee, but he also played 10 minutes and was 6 minutes and was -16, Wolfie. He banged his knee, and you need him to be better. You need him to get back to healthy down the stretch, but -16 in 6 minutes, some of it not his fault. He was just on the floor at the wrong time. But if he's going to be out there, you need him to produce. And before he banged his knee, he didn't give them a whole lot tonight.
No,
they didn't get anything from the bench. They got nothing from the bench tonight. Nothing.
And I saw a couple of good defensive possessions out of him, McKinley, but that was it. That was all you got out of him tonight. And I like the way he plays. I think he's very active, actually. Very active. But that's all they got out of him tonight. You got to get more. You got to get more out of that bench, even though they didn't get a whole lot of bench minutes. But certainly that wasn't their best either at all.
To further your point, Chad, in 28 minutes played from your bench, you got 2 points, 1 of 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, 2 rebounds, both of them offensive, 2 assists, 3 fouls, and 2 steals. That's the entirety of what your bench gave you.
Yeah, I would never guess the 2 steals either.
28 minutes for that.
Should have shortened the rotation to 5.
Yes, and get oxygen tanks there on the bench for Chom.
The ultimate shorten the rotation, 5.
Well,
but the Buck. I mentioned that earlier, Wolfie. The Buck goaltend was the only basket from the bench, so the bench did not have a single ball.
Oh God, that's right, it was.
They did not have a single ball go through the hoop.
Unreal.
That is hard to believe.
That puts us on an hour on this one. Are we ready to slip into the rest of the George in the Jungle stuff?
Yeah, that's fine.
At this
That, or I can go do a shot of Buffalo Trace. What you want to do?
Let me go get you guys get started. I'll go down to the bottom. I'm going to go get my dogs inside because they're outside barking their heads off at something.
Go get those pooches.
And I'll be back in a second. And then you can go get a shot of Buffalo Trace, George.
Okay.
Great. What kind of show are we doing here, George?
I don't know.
All right. Normally in this Tuesday night spot, if you're unfamiliar with what George and I do, we cover the rest of the city's sports here. So we will switch gears. I'm gonna put Chad on mute here real quick until he comes back as he's yelling at his dogs. But we'll switch gears here. George, did you catch any of the Bearcats baseball last week?
I did.
As they beat a top 10 team.
It was amazing.
And then get bullied around a little bit by UAB, who maybe they're better than we thought.
UAB's probably okay, and UC should have won the first game of that series.
Losing on a walk-off it's a punch in the face.
Yeah, that hurt. Then you hope you bounce back the next day, and you lose another one, and then you bounce back and you get 2 wins and get out of there with a split. So I think they're happy coming home 5-3.
So this question came up last night in the mailbag on the BBP. So I'll ask you here because it makes sense to ask you what your opinion is. Losing on the walk-off 11-10, right? It was 11-10, 11-9.
That sounds right.
Something like that. Or losing 1-0 in a shutout the next day. What's a worse way to lose? Like what's you played baseball? Would you rather lose on a walk-off after you had several opportunities to win, or would you rather? Are you more concerned with?
I'm more concerned with the 1-0 shutout
than you are with the giving up several different leads.
Things happen in baseball like that. As some, if you play and you're in it and you gave it everything you have, and you probably should have won, yes, but you feel like for the most part you played well, you hit the ball well. You don't like to lose those games, but those games do happen. God, a 1-0 shutout when you don't score a single run in the entire game.
And this entire offense is predicated around getting on base and
putting pressure on defenses, running. Yes.
It was 12-11, by the way, Aaron, the walk-off.
Sorry.
Okay. They were up 11-6, and it got to be 11-8, and then 11-9, and then a 3-run home run to walk it off. Like
that hurts.
They had a lot of chances to put that game away. That's like the
frog boiling thing, though. The water keeps getting warmer, and you don't notice it. But a 1-0 shutout, you're pissed the entire game that you haven't gotten anything cooking on the bases.
I asked him the question from last night, Chad. I don't know if you caught that or not, but from the mailbag. But
yeah, 1-0 sucks, but man, you're up 11-6 late in that game on the road, the first game of the series, a chance to set a tone. You're playing well, and then you let them walk you down like that, 12-11. I think that carried over into game 2.
And it could have. And I took the 1-0 loss because I just abhor not scoring runs. But I will say this, as a catcher, give me the 1-0 loss all day, every day. Because those 12-11 games and you're catching, you know how much work that is? You're back there roasting and you're getting hit with foul ball. Give me the 1-0 game as a catcher. Either way, all day, every day. Because, man, those Sunday afternoons got bad on those extra inning games. Oh.
Well, I guess the good news, though, for the baseball team is you got those 8 games on the road out of the way, and you get to come home You open up the season. Your home opener is Wednesday against Bowling Green. The Bearcats are 2-0 under Jordan Bishel in home openers. So take that for what you will. But George, you going to be in attendance at this one?
My plan is yes.
Weather permitting, of course.
I got to go meet some guys for lunch for a birthday, and then as long as I keep it in check, and I should, I will make it to the baseball game, and I can't wait to see it. Actually, it was great to see baseball again, and I watched that Reds game on Sunday or Saturday, and it's just good to see baseball again. And 5-3 coming back home, and they got a win over Auburn in their nest there. So
yeah,
off to a good start in my book.
Somebody also asked in the mailbag a couple weeks ago, curious if you think is this the season they get to 40 wins?
No.
Oh my God.
40 and 15 is like there's 45, 46 games. It's just an absurd winning percentage in a high major conference. I just don't I can't see it.
No, this conference is loaded. It's going to be really, really tough.
And you've already got 3.
I think there'll be 6
losses
after tomorrow, but you never know. Like these midweek games are like, they're kind of like playing a slot machine.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what Bishel and the boys do. But again, the home opener is Wednesday at 3:00. It'll be on ESPN Plus if you want to follow along. But you can check that out there. You mentioned the Reds. We'll switch gears here. Easy transition though. George, you caught the Reds. We some good things, some bad things, but I think there's a lot of good right now to be. I personally I don't care what pitching does right now. I think they're all working on some different things.
Totally.
We've heard plenty of pitchers talk about different things they're working on. Now that all said, we see Matt McClain with new pants. I think that's a big deal. He's trying to just exercise whatever last year was. Fine. He's wearing long pants now instead of the high socks and the style he had last season is gone. But he's hitting the ball. I'll take it. We also saw Gino's first home run, Ellie's first home run, Will Benson's first home run. We've seen a lot of good things already. We've also seen a guy who we thought was a staple for right field struggle already early in the season from right field. We've seen some, I won't say base running errors, but was it Blade, I believe, pimping out a double, just watching a double sail and not really running out. It could have been a stand-up triple, I think. But instead he watches what he thought was going to be a home run go for a double. Just things that Tito says we're going to be working on. I want to make sure that they are working on them. I don't want to see that again. I know it's very, very early in the preseason, but I don't want to see watching a double.
No, and a veteran should know better than that. And that's just, I mean, think about this. You're with a new team and you're like, and there's no guarantees for him, right? And you're going to do that. I'm sure he's got the message now. And if anything, even remotely like that happens again, I mean, he's cannon fodder in my book, but really, you just load it up and blow it out of there. Getting, you got to set the tone early on this kind of stuff. You can't just say, okay, the veteran can do it. What if one of the rookies that are in camp did that? They're going to hear about it, and hopefully Blade did too. You have to do that. You have to hold them all to the same standard. It ain't like Sparky and the Big Red Machine where you can trust your starting 8 and you got to ride the other guys. You kind of got to ride everybody with this team because the last time I checked, they haven't gone back to back and winning world championships.
Fair enough. What have you seen though that you feel good about so far?
Oh God, what do I feel good about? Nothing. Just the potential of this team. Seriously, I mean, it's so early. It's good to see Suarez homer. It's good to see Ellie do it because we know what his second half was.
Back to back, by the way.
And that's even better. And hopefully we see that more than once and not just in Arizona. No, it's good to see that. It's good to see, it seems like they're pleased with where Sal Stewart is, in his development and what they wanted to see him look like coming into spring training. And you're right about the pitching and guys are working on different things and new pitches and just little tweaks. And they'll dial that in after the next week or two and start figuring it out. But no, I'm just, I think their outfield depth might be a little better than I thought. Bladay's a guy you mentioned who didn't, show himself well, but Dane Myers is a guy that can do some things that he's an interesting guy for them. And Sheldon wrote about that on the Reds website. Just, I didn't realize how versatile that dude was. And the speed he brings to them that he could give them off the bench. So we'll see how the roster shakes out and all that. But I am pleased with that too. I think maybe they're a little better off in that area than I thought they were because he'll give Friedel a chance to not have to face a left-hander every freaking day.
I'll also add I liked that I thought Burns and Louder both looked good on that first start.
I saw Burns, and then I fell asleep when Louder came in, and I woke up.
Was it like 3:30 in the afternoon?
Yeah, this was Saturday, right?
Okay, that's fine.
What was going on? We had the Kansas game, right?
Oh, you were sloshed.
That might have been it. No, I really wasn't, but I think I snoozed off for a few minutes and I missed it.
I snoozed off for a few innings.
Well, I also screwed up on my so this was an old man thing on my DVR, and I went back to check something out, and it was on like MLB TV, like on the app, and I had to do it through the app. Well, the app started the game from the very beginning, and I thought it was like, okay, I'm watching live, and then somebody texted me, and so I'm like, oh shit, I'm not on the live. Long story, but yeah, I missed Louder.
I also wanted to note that TJ Antone is back again after another Tommy John, and good to see him back in camp. He had one inning of scoreless ball against a team that put up a lot of runs when they played Seattle, and Seattle goes for 14.
And the one thing, George, I'm looking at from this offense, there's been solid contact.
Thank God.
And you got Ellie and Suarez back to back today. I had to leave the Death Star in Kenwood, so I didn't see what happened after about the 7th inning. But I don't know if they won or not. But I know you got those two guys back to back, which there wasn't enough of that last year. There wasn't enough.
No, there was not really enough sock.
5-4?
5-4.
How about that? Hot damn.
Yep. Print those playoff tickets.
Well, there will be plenty more ball between now and next week, as you got the White Sox tomorrow. You've got the Padres on Thursday. You've got is it Anaheim, California, LA? I don't even know at this point. The Angels.
Yeah, I don't know what they are. They were what were they?
It feels like they haven't changed their name in a couple of years, so they're about
the California Angels of Los Angeles, or the Los Angeles Angels of California,
of Anaheim. I don't even know. But they're I guess they're listed as LAA, so they're still the Los Angeles Angels for now.
Do you think there's any way Ellie will have more strikeouts than Suarez this year?
I hope they're not competing for strikeouts. I really do.
I mean, there's a way, George.
I know there's a way. I'm thinking of the back-to-back home runs. How many times are we going to be seeing back-to-back whiffs? That concerns me.
A lot.
I know.
They've got the Brewers on Saturday. They've got the Athletics on Sunday, the Cubs on Monday. And, George, I don't know if we're going to be doing a show on next Tuesday as the Bearcats will be playing at 9 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. What are we going to do?
And you'll be at that one. So we may have to take the –
We're going to do a show at 12:30.
Yeah.
If there's anything left of me, I'll join you.
Okay.
Can't wait. Should be fun.
I mean, you guys can start at 11:30 if you want, and I'll hop in when I get back. But
If I can do that, Aaron, I'll let you know.
All right.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
But we'll switch gears here and talk just real quick on the Bengals and Duke Tobin and his statement from today.
They're all in.
Sure, they're all in.
They're always all in.
So much, in fact, that they've talked to my guy Dalton Reisner, and he has some decisions to make. Which, who knows? But it just feels like they probably lowballed him or said, "Go test the market and come back."
Or he
to us.
asked for too much. That is entirely possible.
Correct.
Maybe.
It could be any of the above.
I know we don't want to give them credit, but until we know, he might have said, I want $12 million a year, and the Bengals went, no.
I don't know, but transparency is not their thing, especially in negotiations. No. I don't blame them.
No,
but we'll see what happens. I just feel like you got to get that one done, only because he was a big piece when the line was playing well. I don't know that you're going to be able to bring in another guy who knows the system already and is going to be able to slot in immediately, as opposed to trying to revamp a line again, because that's always fun. But they also talked Trey Hendrickson and that
No, they didn't. He didn't. He wanted no part of it.
He said the sign and trade is difficult, and he kind of just left it at that, which I'm sure it is. I don't know why we're talking about signing. I get that you want to try and do a sign and trade because you want to try and get something as opposed to nothing, or the compensatory pick if he goes and signs somewhere else, which I believe, depending on how many games he starts or what, I think the third round is still potential. We'll see. It depends on his injuries.
Well, with going back to the offensive lineman and what Chad said, yes. I mean, we don't know what the hell he's asking for and all that. And when did they pick him up last year?
Late. Well after we mentioned it.
Wait on that veteran, but they don't have to. I know Duke said they're all in, but they don't have to go all in on this guy right now. You know what I'm saying? So
they went all in last. They went all in on the guard from New Orleans last year, and that was a terrible signing, George.
Maybe they learned from it.
Patrick, what was it? I don't even remember his last name at this point. Maybe Patrick was his last name. I don't. He was.
Yeah,
terrible.
they whiffed on that. They did whiff.
Lucas.
And I would rather have the bird.
Lucas Patrick.
If I got a guy that does what my system does, but I don't know. I wouldn't panic over that one. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But the combine is upon us. We'll have more on that whenever we reconvene. And
I was talking to, I had Skinny on the radio today.
Yeah.
And I asked Skinny about Kobe and D Cook. And he said he's messed with the roster builder thing a bunch of times, and almost every time it keeps coming back to Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
Ends up with the Bengals at safety.
That would be wild.
That would be awesome. Great. Just a great freaking dude.
The funny thing about that is everybody online is talking Brian Cook. I haven't seen anybody talking Kobe Bryant outside of what we've talked Kobe Bryant. So interesting. I don't have anything else on the Bengals unless you do, George.
No, I really don't.
We're speed running it tonight.
Yeah, we probably need to.
Only 10:30, boys. It's only 10:30.
God, it is. It does seem later than that.
It feels like midnight, but it's 10:30. Yes. It's not that bad.
I just don't have much else. It was a quiet week outside of
no. Yeah, it was. You just I don't know how serious the situation is with Willie Anderson and that kidney surgery. I don't know, but I certainly, we all wish the best for that.
His girlfriend being the donor, though, how about that?
I know.
Very cool. I did have something I was upset.
Love will find a way.
And it's what always upsets me about like when Duke and Zach talk, and I'm interested in George's take.
Okay.
Duke tells us we value defensive line, and somebody asked him about Seattle and the way that their defensive line got after the quarterback, and he told us what we know. We know they value defensive line. Every year they spend premium draft picks and free agent money, and they clearly value defensive line. I don't need to know that you value defensive line. I need to know why the hell you're bad at it.
Right.
What are you doing that is not being effective on the football field? Because for 5 years now, they have put a heavy value, heavy emphasis on the defensive line. They've gotten Trey right. They've gotten a couple of the inside guys right. But they've gone after, they probably added, if you go back 5 years, they probably added 12, 15 guys on the defensive line, and like 3 of them have hit. I don't need to know that you value defensive line. I need to know what's not working. What traits are not translating to the field.
No, and at some point you have to admit to yourself, I'm not very good at this. I got to find somebody who is. I'm not saying Duke Tobin needs to fire himself. I'm not saying Zach needs to fire himself. Find a guy that can, and I know every franchise does, but you got to find a goddamn defensive player whisperer or something, because they don't have it, because they haven't drafted defense very well for a while. And especially defensive line and edge. I mean, you can even like tweak it and say edge has really been bad. So they need to fix that, and I don't know if they have the people on hand capable. And I know they've got new, and it may not be fair because they have new people on the staff, and maybe one of those guys are that guy. But you're right; they have to. I mean, you can't just keep the same people doing the same things and looking the same way for the same guys and expect the guys to be different after you draft them this time. It's the same guy. It's, Miles Murphy, Joseph Zasai, Shamar Stewart. There's more. I mean, there's been a bunch of them. And they're okay, but you're using major capital on these guys. You're supposed to get major return. And they're not doing it. They're not doing it at all. And I
don't need to know that you value defensive line. I know that.
Right.
They've shown that. We're not talking about guard.
Yeah.
We're not talking about guard or linebacker or safety. The spots that they clearly over the years have just decided aren't important.
Right.
We're talking about something they've decided is important, and they suck ass at doing it.
They're not good. They are not good at picking those guys.
To both your points, I mean, it's not that they just are using high draft capital. It's the fact that people who are drafting after them are hitting on guys later in the draft as opposed to having the high picks and whiffing. So it's frustrating. I don't know what the mental gymnastics are that you're telling yourself if you're Duke Tobin, that you're just going to continue to keep doing this with the same people in place. I don't know if you need to hire a scout, an actual defensive line scout, maybe,
I would do that.
You've only got like what 4, 6 scouts on staff.
Yeah.
Can't imagine it's crazy expensive to hire one scout.
You wouldn't think. You would think you could find a guy, and I don't know why that's been happening over and over and over, and it's got to be fixed because it's killing them. It is absolutely killing them. And I don't know, maybe and maybe a football scout can tell me. Maybe it's just a lot easier to scout offensive talent, especially skill position. I guess it is. But to find these guys with the high motors that get results. I mean, we saw what Shamar Stewart was in college and what the production was. Yes, the measurables at the combine were off the charts, but then the production over here is here, and then you spin that pick on him. And by no means is he a finished product, and he may turn out to be an all-pro defensive end, but the early results aren't good. They did not get out of him as a rookie what they thought they were going to get out of him.
It's frustrating. It's one of the there's a handful of things that happens every year, and this is certainly one of those things that is frustrating year after year after year.
And now people are projecting that kid from Miami might fall to them. And if I'm that kid, I'm not going to want to be part of that. I'll be jinxed if the Bengals draft me as a defensive lineman.
Well, it just hasn't been good since. I don't feel like they've hit since
or an edge anyway.
Atkins and Carlos Dunlap, Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap. It's not been the same.
It feels that way. It totally feels that way.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, hell, their best tackle since then they got in the trade. My God, that may have been one of their best trades ever. Was getting BJ Hill
for Billy Price.
Yep.
God. Yeah.
That was
like I said, I don't have anything else left on Bengals unless you got anything else there.
No, we're through the book, baby.
FC Cincinnati played their first game. They did have the one against O&M FC that they won for is it 4-0? Are you supposed to say nil?
There you go.
I don't
know.
You
can say nothing to me, but soccer people prefer nil.
On the pitch and all of that. But they also played Atlanta at home, and they won at TQL 2-0 to get the season started. So you start 1-0. You start 1-0. You score late in this one, both after regulation ended in the 6th and 8th minute post regulation. But happy to see them win.
Absolutely. Great start for them. And they do have high hopes, and with good reason. They play that team from the Dominican again tomorrow night in that Champions Cup deal, and they'll move on to the next round. They would have to lose basically by 5 goals tomorrow night, or 4 goals in a shootout to blow this. So I think they're moving on to the second round in that. And then they're back in regular season MLS action on Saturday.
Yeah. Yep. If you wanted to gamble on the O&M FC, Cincinnati favored -3,000 on that one.
Really?
Yeah. The draw plus 1,800, but against Minnesota, the line's out on that one as well. Minnesota plus 105, Cincinnati plus 200, the draw plus 265. So that'll wrap up February there for FCC before they get into just regular play next month in March, and they don't have any of these extraneous games, I don't believe, for that tournament, right?
Oh, there will be more coming up, yeah.
Oh, they're just not on the schedule yet.
It just depends, yeah. They haven't been scheduled.
Outside of that, I don't think there's anything you see.
Who's starting tournaments this week? Ohio and Kentucky. Ohio has a few straggler regular season games this week, but the tournaments are underway. And Yeah, the district tournaments in Kentucky have started with a lot of first-round games last night, and they will be having their semifinals and finals coming up here the rest of this week in Kentucky. And Ohio gets it going with the sectionals. In fact, there were some games last night played in Ohio in the sectional tournament.
All right. We will have plenty more as the high school basketball tournaments are underway and going as they proceed. But I don't know that I have anything left for tonight. There weren't any real like wacky stories or anything that I can even hit you with at the end. I just don't feel like it was a great week.
We'll reload.
Yeah. The Kansas stuff I was obsessed with the Kansas stuff, and I don't know. That was enough.
Which Kansas stuff?
Cincinnati beating Kansas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And there is something for Saturday that's interesting. It looked like Parsa Fala, the big man for Oklahoma State, essentially their best player. They beat West Virginia tonight in overtime, but at the end of the game, he went out in a wheelchair.
Oh no!
With what looked like a torn ACL.
Oh,
no.
shoot! Hate to hear that. I hate injuries.
So we might get another team of gnats flying around.
Right. Yeah, and that didn't work out so well tonight. We'll see on Saturday.
The tape is out, and this Arizona Baylor game is getting real interesting, though, for sure. Baylor's up.
It's TCU and Baylor, or at TCU Arizona State.
I'm watching Baylor Arizona, and it's 57.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were
I'm watching TCU Arizona State, and there was just a kerfuffle.
Oh, not a Donnybrook.
Just a kerfuffle.
It's 57-57 Baylor, Arizona at Baylor.
It's one of my favorite words, George. Kerfuffle.
Nice. That's a good word. I never got hurt in a kerfuffle. I got hurt in a fight, though.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap things up here for the aftermath for George in the Jungle. Thanks to Cincy Light for sponsoring the studios. Thanks to Galactic Fried Chicken for sponsoring the aftermath. We do appreciate you. Go check them out over in Northern Kentucky. Best fried chicken that you could have. Check out the sauce. It's out of this world.
Wait. Go ahead. Sorry. I think Jamie Dixon knocked down Bobby Hurley.
Oh, Jesus. I got to see this.
Let's go.
It's on CBS Sports Network.
And thanks as always to Remington Tavern for sponsoring George in the Jungle. You can check them out at 8892 Glendale Milford Road, 45140, where they have their daily happy hour from 3 to 7 p.m. $5 Bourbon Whiskey Wednesdays, Bottle Cap Bonanza Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. You can check them out on Instagram at RemyTavCincy or follow them on Facebook. But for George Vogel, for Chad Brendel, I'm Aaron Smith. We'll be back here next Tuesday at sometime after the BYU Cincinnati senior night that starts at 9 o'clock, so the BYU people can enjoy ratings. But we'll see you then next Tuesday. Can't wait. BearcatJournal.com.